I will call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education, which was duly noticed October 23rd, October 15th through posting and notification of the press in accordance with Wisconsin Statute 1984. The Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by a student from Harrison Elementary School, Jacob Costello. Jacob, just wait a second. We'll wait for your mom to get up here. Moms are very important.
Well, never cross. She's circling.
Okay, Jacob.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item number 3, consider approval of October 27, 2015 Board of Education agenda.
Second.
Let's vote. That passes unanimously. Item number 4, a special agenda item for public hearing on the 2015-2016 proposed district budget. First individual that had filled out a form. You don't have to fill out a form. It's nice if you do, but Mr. Dan Cunningham, please.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Dan Cunningham. I'm the Vice President of Government Relations and Education at Forward Janesville. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I rise tonight to encourage you to support career readiness initiatives in the 2016 school district budget. I sent each of you a message this morning outlining my specific concerns, so I won't go into too much detail here, but wanted to summarize. In summary, Forward Janesville supports strong investments in the school district's STEM program, in computer science skill development, in initiatives that support the real-world application of math and science skills, and in initiatives that allow teachers and students to visit area businesses. I should also say that I help with Inspire Rock County. We handle that through the business side, and the school district's been very involved in that. I very much support the creation of the new college and career readiness coordinator position that will help with Inspire. You guys have done a terrific job, the school district, in being involved in that, but I think we could even bring it to the next level with this new position, so support that as well. A strong workforce and a thriving school system are vital to our economic development efforts, and this budget really shows the school district's commitment, in my opinion, to preparing students for the jobs of tomorrow. So I urge you to adopt the 2016 budget and to support these initiatives. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to address the board concerning the budget? Anyone? Anyone? All right.
President Lee?
Yes?
We did receive, or I received, 5 individual letters from businesses supporting the budget and the adoption of what Mr. Cunningham had outlined, and from one of our parents who's been very involved. So I appreciate the commentary and the support we've received from the local community on the budget initiatives that Dr. Schulte has brought forward.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, the public hearing is closed. Safety share. Kristen.
Good evening. Well, Saturday marks once again Halloween, and while my children, I'm sorry to say, are far too old for trick-or-treating, so I don't get to, sort through their goodies, I do have a few, those Snickers bars can be dangerous. So anyway, I do have some. Oh, good Lord. Thank you. No. I do have some tips for adults. If you're going to be having trick-or-treaters at your house, please put away anything that they could trip over, such as garden hoses, toys, bikes, lawn decorations. Replace any burned-out light bulbs so that your walkways are very lighted. If you'll be driving on Halloween, please watch for children who might pop out between parked cars. It's a very exciting time of year for children. They're not necessarily as careful as they should be. Keep candle-lit jack-o'-lanterns away from doorsteps, walkways, landings, and curtains where they could get stepped on or knocked over. And finally, even if your dog is as friendly as mine certainly was, please restrain your pet so they do not inadvertently jump on or bite a trick-or-treater. So have a safe and fun Halloween, everyone.
Excellent. Excellent.
Do not feed the pets either.
Perfect. That was very timely.
Very timely.
All right. Announcements,
Keeping the candy bars.
please.
I'm pleased to share that the school district will be hosting an election training for school district clerks in Rock, Greene, and Walworth County next week, Thursday. Lisa Tollefson is working with us and Deb Weston on putting that together from 9 to noon next week, and all are welcome. It's to try to go over some of the new rules as it relates to the election protocol for next spring, because there's no fall elections. So appreciate Lisa Tollefson taking the lead as the new clerk and county clerk, and it'll give a chance for her to be introduced to many of the people around the county that she may not have met.
Thank you very much. Superintendent, please.
Thank you, Board President. The Russian exchange students and teachers will be here from Premier School in Moscow. They arrive Friday and will spend 1 week with our students at Craig High School and their host families. They will spend time also touring southern Wisconsin. There'll be about 10 students and 2 teachers. Parker Band Chili Supper, November 1st, Sunday, 11 to 6 at Parker High School to raise funds for the band. Upcoming musicals. If you haven't been to School District of Janesville High School musical, you're in for a treat. Craig High School is doing Jekyll and Hyde, November 6th and 7th, 7:30, and November 8th at 2:30. Price is $15 for adults and $10 for students and seniors. Rumor has it that Commissioner Audrey's son is in the musical, so make sure you see him.
I have tickets.
That's right. Did I buy tickets, Scott? I gotta buy tickets. Speaking of. And then Parker High School presents 9 to 5 on November 19th, 20th, 21st. We got to hear them if you were at Empty Bowls on Saturday. Fundraiser for Echo. They did excerpts. Phenomenal as well. So, and those tickets are also on sale. $10 and $15 for adults and $12 for students and seniors. Also, 3 Craig High School cross-country athletes qualified for state competition to take place on Saturday, October 31st in Wisconsin Rapids. For the boys cross-country runners, Peyton Bender, a senior, Nate Farrell, a junior, will represent Craig High School. And for the girls, it will be Peyton Sippy, who's a sophomore. Principal Kurt Krieg of Jefferson Elementary School rode his bike to school. Now, Kurt lives in Evansville, 24 miles. He did this to reward students for raising over $6,000 for the Jefferson Jog. This is an increase of over $1,500 from last year's event. I saw him today. He survived. He looks like he's in good shape. Let's see. Finally, we have with us, actually today, he did a presentation, Dr. Larry Epstein, who comes to us from Massachusetts General Hospital. He presented to administrators today about rethinking challenging kids, and he will be presenting tomorrow at Craig High School in the morning at 8 a.m. All are invited to attend. And then a special meeting at 1:30 tomorrow for community providers as well. All board members, of course, are invited to that as well. So you'll hear more about that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley, please.
So if you remember, starting back last June, we changed the format of the board packet in part to make it accessible on every kind of device. At the same time, Adobe got in a fight with Chrome and Firefox on how it's going to open on your iPads. So we are in the process of looking for a stronger, simpler solution for board packets, and we'll have something to present to the board by the second meeting in November. So be looking for that as we find a solution that'll help us make the board packets in a way that makes them more readable, easier to access, and yet still very secure and available.
Thank you. Anyone else besides me? I didn't know we were supposed to wear purple today.
You didn't get the memo.
No.
Why?
But first of all, I just want to express the gratitude that it's been demonstrated to me by the public feedback and myself for the support and hard work that all the board members do. It's a volunteer service, and the hours and research and stress and passion that we put in is a wonderful gift that we can give to the community. So thank you for doing that very much. This is impromptu, but I'm going to pick on a couple new school teachers from Lincoln. Mrs. Costello, could you please have them come up to the podium and introduce themselves, please? They don't have to say anything, just their name and where they teach, please. These are a couple of our newest and youngest and brightest teachers in our district, and this is the first time I met them, and I just wanted to make sure that we all get to meet them tonight. Just go ahead and introduce yourself and maybe where you're from and where you teach.
Well, actually, I'm Allie Arnold, and this is Hannah Berry. We teach at Lincoln. We're a couple of the pilots of the multi-age personalized learning rooms. So, yeah, that's us.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Communication survey deadline is Friday. As of this morning, 4 out of 9 have completed the survey. So we got to get that done because November 10th, in closed session, we'll be having a review with the superintendent, primarily to discuss the communication survey results and the LEM results. So we'll be doing that on the 10th. So please finish that survey as soon as you can. Yesterday, we had an ad hoc committee meeting concerning the professional performance scale structure. Gosh.
Structure like a building.
I'm going to have to write that down. But we're getting very close. We have another meeting November 4th. We're still on track, and our timeline is still fairly secure to meet. Have a recommendation to the administration. Administration should be prepared to make initial proposal on the 24th of November, if everything goes as planned. And if you need more information, I know Commissioner Quirk has a scheduled appointment with Dr. Sperry about that topic. If anyone else needs more information or wants to have a discussion about what the committee's doing, please get with me, Dr. Sperry, Commissioner Huth, and we'd be glad to sit down and really get into the details of this journey that's been going on for over 2 years now. But we're getting pretty close. A lot of great discussion, some disagreements, but we're trying to work through this so that we can be prepared to have that pay scale in place for the next school year.
What time on the 4th?
3:45.
5:15.
That's a closed meeting to the ad hoc committee. I don't know, our board members, that's a closed meeting of ad hoc. If we had more than the committee there, we'd have to post it as an open meeting. Is that true?
More than 4.
So let me ask.
You're telling me I can't come?
Well, I don't want to tell you you can't come. That's a step, but I need to know. I'll have to ask more about
If I
that.
keep my mouth shut, can I come?
And can I come?
See, that's just it. Let me.
Me too.
I'll get back to you guys on that in 2 days on the dynamics of that. It's been closed
Right.
to that group, so we don't have that have to be an open session because there's some very, very difficult discussion right now on that. Not difficult, but intense discussions. And we want that to be that way, intentionally. Okay. All right. All right, that's all I got for that. Peace, anyone else? All right, next item, citizen comments. I don't have any. Hey, Tony? Anybody wish to address the board on any issue they have on their mind? Okay, next we're going to go into item 8, board commendations. Can I have the FFA team come up and join us up here, please? Come on up, stand right behind, start over here by the American flag and work this way. Everybody? How you doing? Yeah. A special recognition to the Craig FFA team for their second place finish at the World Dairy Expo in the dairy cattle judging competition. They placed second out of 132 teams and qualified to participate in the international competition in Scotland in June. Congratulations to all of you for a job well done. So, and Diane Rundy is the team coach. Why don't you have a seat here, and if you want to introduce everyone, that'd be great.
Thank you. The team members are Hayden Funk, Jenna Brogy, Annie Rundy, Alex Krieger, and also assistant coach or help here is Jillian McNeely, who also teaches at Craig High School. And we want to thank the board for inviting us to come here tonight, and we want to thank you for recognizing us and our FFA chapter and our achievements that these students have done. It truly is an honor to come here tonight and to see the kids in the Janesville School District excel through these programs.
That's all right. That's all right. You wouldn't know. Thanks very much, you guys. How are you related to Paul Brogy?
He's my uncle.
Your uncle?
Yes.
All right. All right.
Scotland in June.
Polina? Is that how I pronounce your name? And Zueva?
Yep.
Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Polina Zueva, for your commitment to sports of tennis and your success as a state qualifier in the 2016 school year, with a record of 22 wins and 5 losses on the year. This accomplishment is an outstanding example of excellence in leadership. Congratulations very much. What'd you say? Should you say?
I'd like to thank my parents for pushing me this much in tennis, and my coach, but he isn't here tonight.
Wonderful. All right. Her dad. Student presenters to the Board of Education from the Arise Virtual Academy. Carlos Pintor.
Good evening, administrators, school board members, and public. My name is Carlos the Great Pintor. You can call me Carlos. I am a sophomore at Arise Virtual Academy, and I came to Arise because it helps me work at my own pace. I can get one-on-one help when I need it. The Virtual Academy allows me the flexibility to work on my schoolwork when it is most advantageous to me. I also enjoy the fact that I can spend the time with my family and outside interests when I need to. Arise allows me to work ahead when I can and slow down when I need to so that I can understand the material better. When I was in middle school, I had to work at everyone else's pace, and the teacher had many people to help. At AVA, I can get the help I need when I need it. I like being able to come into the classroom and get the one-on-one help. All of my teachers are very helpful and really care about me. I am treated as an individual. Because I can work at my own pace, that helps me spend the extra time I need to fully understand my studies and spend the extra time I need to make sure I learn the material. I plan on taking the construction class at Parker my senior year, and I also plan on getting a jump on my life after high school by taking a couple of construction classes at Blackhawk Tech my senior year. We also really like our new location at Franklin Middle School. Students are more spread out and not crammed together. There are always computers available to work on, because last year there were times where not all of us could work at one time. All of the teachers you need to help are in one room, and if I need to meet with a friend, we can either work in the center or work in the corner and not interrupt anyone. At AVA this year, we are creating a yearbook for the first time. All of the work will be done by the students and our advisor, Mrs. Torreson. The yearbook is created entirely online. All students will be included in the yearbook, and seniors will have their own special section. At the end of the year, each student can purchase a hard copy of the yearbook, or they can look at it for free online. We also welcome several new teachers to Arise. Mrs. Rundle, who has come out of retirement to be our part-time elementary teacher. Mrs. Jacobs is our new part-time Chinese teacher. Mr. Miller is our new part-time health teacher. Ms. Bystead is our full-time science teacher, and Mrs. Patchen is our new part-time special education teacher. Our students will be joining the other Janesville charter schools and visiting Blackhawk Technical College on November 19th to learn more about the culinary program. We also have conferences this Wednesday and Thursday, and we are looking forward to our usual 100% attendance of parents and students. At our conferences, each student reviews their graduation plan and their post-high school plans. Each student has a coach that they meet with 4 times a year to continually update their progress on their goals. And that's what's going on at Arise Virtual Academy. Thank you.
Rock University High School, Ben Childers.
Good evening. My name is Ben Childers. I'm a senior at Rock University High School. This is my second year enrolled at Rock University High School. I was previously enrolled at Craig High School. This year, our enrollment count was 42, but now we have 46 students. This shows a growth trajectory of about 10%. This November, Rock University High School will be taking part in math and science competitions at the Milwaukee School of Engineering, where we will engage in critical thinking and problem solving with some of the brightest minds in the state. It's a real honor to participate in this because only 35 schools in Wisconsin are allowed to participate. Later this year, our juniors will be participating in the National History Day Research Project competitions. This year's theme is Exploration, Encounter, and Exchange in History. This is an extensive inquiry-based research project which culminates in the presentation of innovative ways of exploring history. Last year, Rock University High School students had several advantages to the regionals, and a student advanced to the state level. Any seniors who enjoyed this process last year and want to take part this year will also be able to do so. This semester, all of our seniors will be participating in the Great World Texts. This is a novel studies course sponsored by UW-Madison for all advanced level high school students. This is a collaborative effort of multiple regional high schools, and our seniors are very excited for the opportunity. Rock University High School has been invited to send a team to the Critical Issues Forum, a nuclear non-proliferation summit in Monterey, California. The topic, of course, is nuclear non-proliferation, and we are waiting for the specific subtopic to be announced for this year. This is RUHS's second year in a row being invited to the Critical Issues Forum, and it's the school district's 10th year, which is a really big deal because only, I believe 9 United States schools are invited every year, and 18 international schools from Japan, Russia, China, and Bosnia. The seniors at Rock University High School have begun their senior internships, working with local businesses. Our students are getting involved getting experience in the fields that they want to pursue after high school. I myself am working with Voight Music, learning the ins and outs of managing a small business as well as working in the local music scene. These internships will continue throughout the school year. Finally, our school is continuing the process, or is currently in the process of becoming a lab school. Over the summer, we met with Stephen Ripa, a member of the Innovative Schools Network. His biggest recommendation to us was to become a lab school, and we are now in the beginning stages of that process. We are working closely with UW-Rock County, Madison, Whitewater, and other area universities to give our students and their students the best tools at their disposal. So you can see these are just a few of the amazing things happening at Rock University High School. And thank you very much for your time and your continued support of Rock University High School.
Item 10, consider approval of consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion? There's motion and a second? Any discussion? Anything? Let's vote. Okay. Item 11, what's right in education?
Thank you, Board President Murray. I'm going to start off with our student accident reports. I am very pleased to say that we have 3 schools that still have 0 accidents for their students for the school year. Rock River Charter School, Kennedy Elementary School, and Madison Elementary School. So congratulations to them. We have 8 schools that have 0 accidents for employees. Rock River Charter School, Tagus, Kennedy, Lincoln, Madison, Monroe, Roosevelt, Van Buren, and Wilson. So also congratulations to them. And as you all know, we are aiming for 0 accidents across the board. And I know I probably stole your thunder, Commissioner Archer. Craig and Parker programmers finished 46th in the world out of 145 programming teams at the Zero Robotics 2D competition. So congratulations to them. As I was reading through this time, I realized this is bigger than what's right in education. It's about what's right in Janesville and the community. There are so many ways the community supports the school district. So I'm going to name some of those things this time. Starting in the spring of 2016, the Tagus Governance Board, these are community folks, also volunteering their time, will be awarding a yearly one-time $500 scholarship to a graduating Tagus senior. People donating money to our schools. Adams School, Marilyn Hardy donated $50 to the Adams Closet. This is donations for clothes for our students. Rich and Mary Masterson donated 16 backpacks, and Robert and Jane Woodman donated 4 bags of school supplies for student supply needs, all at Adams Elementary School. Harrison Elementary School, Mrs. Kaislia had a project funded on DonorsChoose.org. She received 3 sets of at-your-seat storage sacks and a 36-compartment wood organizer for her classroom. Allison and Matt Stalsberg donated a treadmill to Harrison. Starbucks donated $500 to Harrison in recognition of volunteer hours one of their employees did last year. And we have a tremendous church partnership, as you know, too. We have at least 13 churches partnered with our schools. Bethel Baptist Church donated 5 boxes of granola bars for students from families who are unable to provide snacks for milk break. Over at Jackson Elementary School, Cargill United Methodist Church donated underwear for boys and girls. Elizabeth Parr bought handmade scarves and hats, and New Life Assembly of God donated 4 backpacks for students. Jefferson Elementary, the PTA is donating proceeds from the Jaguar Jog to support field trips and classroom supplies. Last year's donation, $4,500. And local businesses. Over at Kennedy Elementary, Famous Dave's, Fazoli's, and Texas Roadhouse donated 400 kids' meal coupons to Kennedy students for participating in fundraising their walk-run. Culver's donated 400 coupons for ice cream for student participation, and Craig High School donated 8 tickets as prizes for their walk-run fundraisers. The Green Bay Packers donated 4 water bottles, 2 backpacks, and 4 pencil cases for prizes as well. And Kohl's department store donated 400 Rice Krispie bar treats for students after the run walk. Kennedy School raised $13,000. Madison Elementary School received school supplies from their church partner, Trinity Episcopal. There has been a tremendous increase in family volunteers this year, reports Madison Principal Stephanie Filter. The PTA sent out 1 email requesting volunteers to help with cutting items out at home. Within 1 hour, they had 9 responses. Monroe Elementary School also had very generous donations. Julie and John Walker made an additional donation of $863. Earlier, they had donated $2,000. They have been able to make additions to their library media center, more STEM kits, more robotics kits, and devices. Roosevelt Elementary, Camilla Owen, $100 to their closet. Janesville Women's Club donated school supplies in August. Van Buren also. School supplies donations, backpacks from their church partner, Roxbury Church Family. And they received a $5,000 donation from their PTA. Washington Elementary School, they received a Healthy Schools grant from the Janesville Education Foundation. Again, community people supporting our schools. And finally, Wilson Elementary School received a donation of $3,000 from RAP, and that is also for purchasing of school supplies for students that would have gone without. So again, our community is just a tremendous support to our school district, and I want to thank all of them for the support they give to the schools. Now I'll go over to the JEEP report as part of this. As you saw in your packet, I outlined for you the revenue for school year tuition, room, and board. And I'm actually partnering with the Gazette for different stories on the JEEP program. And so this round we targeted the revenue side. And so as you saw in your report, tuition and room and board has not changed over the 3 years that we have been doing this. Tuition is $14,000 and room and board is $10,000, and we pay our host families $500 a month for either 9 or 10 months that the students are staying with them. So you can see over the years the students that have come in. The first year, 13-14, we had 1 student for 1 semester. And then you can also see what happened to that student. They came back the following year. In 14-15, we had 5 students, 1 returning student. Their tuition totaled $70,000, their room and board $50,000, for a total of $120,000 plus fees. What are those fees? There are different fees associated with transferring the wire transfer from the different banks. And then you can see there that 4 of the students graduated and 1 returned and is with us this year. And finally, this year's enrollment of 7 students year to date, $85,000 in tuition. 1 student is dually enrolled with UW-Rock County, so they are paying part-time tuition to us, full tuition to UW-Rock County as a dually enrolled student. And room and board, a total of $70,000 for a total of $155,000 and $900 plus fees. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the revenue side. And November, we hope to bring the expense side to you. That is a tedious process because we have to pull that out by hand as to the different categories of expenses, but we've been working on that. Also, we had a strategic planning committee that did the original strategic plan with JEEP, led by Rich Gruber. And we are bringing that committee back together for part 2 of the strategic planning process for JEEP. And then finally, in November, Kevin Miller will be back with an update as well on the Winter Institute and plans for that, and an update on the prospective students for 2016-17. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Please. Gail?
How are we doing on the television program to foreign students? You know what I'm talking about?
Meaning telepresence.
Thank
The
you.
telepresence. Dr. Smiley, would you like to talk about that? There's been some barriers there.
We're certainly open and would like you using telepresence in China, but we found some barriers with the Great Firewall of China in terms of blocking our signals and getting that through. So we've had some challenges in China that we haven't found in other countries in terms of making that telepresence work.
Because I knew we were having a number of students that were interested in that, which sounded great, you know, and
Right.
low overhead.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Anyone else? Kathy?
I didn't quite catch it. You mentioned the strategic plan session again with Mr. Gruber. Did you say a date yet? Or
I didn't. Good question. I will be sending a selection of dates because the whole board was invited, as you remember. A lot of you were there.
Yeah.
So I will send that selection out.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So thanks for your continued work on this initiative. I see Kevin Miller is here, and he's smiling, so he's still with us.
Very busy.
All right, very good. Okay, where am I? Here I am. 12. Item number 12, Personnel Policy and Curriculum Committee Report. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you. Not very much to report. We had a rather short meeting. We had a wonderful presentation about P4J and all that it does and its history. And then coming up at our next meeting, which is November 23rd at 5:15, we're going to look at, or we're going to have a presentation about the innovation specialists in the district, and hopefully we'll have some AP data to look at, and we're going to begin discussing ways that we might want to incentivize the AP program and to get more bodies and seats in those kind of classes. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. We had a citizen come in a little bit late, so if there's no objections to the board, I'd like to accommodate this individual and give her time to address the board. Any objections? All right, seeing none. Kathy Becker. Thank you.
Make sure she gives her name and
Okay. Hi, Kathy. Could you introduce yourself, please, and give us your address? Thank you.
Hi, Kathy Becker, 6219 US Highway 51 South. It's Rockville Mobile Home Park. We have lived there 42 years, and I just received the letter on 10/14 about the Parker bus not coming out to the park anymore. So I called and talked to somebody Thursday or Friday, and they said that there is not going to be a bus for Parker kids, that is switched to Craig. So they told me to come and see exactly what was going on. Because we have 2 grandchildren that live with us, and the one goes to Parker, and our kids went, our grandkids went. So I wondered if anybody, because I got the letter with me.
Please.
Well, actually, the Parker principal is here, but I'm not going to put him on the spot. I can give you the phone number to call so that you can get answers to your questions. That's not some information that we would have.
Well, because it come from here, the letter came from here, and that's why I was surprised that all of a sudden they want to switch, and because there's like 59 kids, and a lot of the kids' parents leave before these kids get on the bus and has no way to get to school.
Well, we'll certainly look into it. Can you give me your name and contact information?
Yeah.
And then I'll get back to
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
You want to write it on there?
Sure.
Good job, Kevin.
want the address or just the number?
The phone number right here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Becker, for coming down and talk to us. You're welcome. Item 13, Finance, Buildings, and Grounds Committee Report. Commissioner Damerhausen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Basically, there isn't a lot to talk about because they'll be covered a little bit later by our CFO, Mr. Pennington. There are a couple of items, D and E. D is possible adjustments to the operation of the Finance Committee. It really was meant to the reports that come, and several board members had mentioned it, so I'd like to open it up. We didn't find any need for changes, but were there any other board members would like to have the financials throughout the year presented in any different way or ask for more discussion?
So the question is, if any board member ever needs more information about budget or finances, feel free to bring it up as an agenda item, or, through the superintendent, ask your questions so that she can get it to the right department. Carl, as the leader of that committee, just wants to make sure that the board is getting all the information they need. And I was at that committee meeting, and at that time, the four of us felt like everything is fine, but he wanted to make sure that was expressed to the rest of us that weren't there.
Or when it's presented.
Yeah.
Well, I've been watching the Finance Committee meetings, which are televised, by the way, for you people. And they're fun, and they're very informative, so you guys are doing a good job, even though I'm not on it.
Thank you.
That can be rectified.
Yeah. Is there objections to that? No. All right.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
Okay, there's one more to touch on. Our future committee, next committee meeting will be November 17th at 3:30 at the Educational Services Center. And we have, for now, until further notice, we'll continue to meet on the third Tuesday of every month at 3:30 at the Educational Services Center. And we'll treat any changes meeting by meeting. So that is all I have. The rest of the things on there move on to number 14. So thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Number 14, first reading, policy 3320, general fund balance.
Good evening, everyone. Item 14 involves fund balance policy, board policy 3320. Not last year, but the year before, there was a change in the rulings and the classifications of fund balance categories by the DPI. We adjusted the fund balance policy, but inserted an incorrect word. If you look at the handout or the item on there, under 1A, you can see it had said to maintain an assigned general fund balance. Two places, the intent and the real meaning was to put in the word unassigned. We went through that last year. We talked about it with the auditors. They knew the intent, so we had not violated a policy, but we needed to change the policy, and we brought that forward at this time. This is just the first reading, but it's basically the correction of an incorrect word. It's not a change in thought, not a change in intent, just a clerical correction.
Thank you. So next meeting will be part of the consent agenda. All right, thank you. Next, item 15, annual Fund 73 report as required by 2005 Wisconsin Act 99.
We are required by such act to report the four following things to a board meeting at least once a year. We have it done at the budget hearing item. It was in the memo that was sent out in the board packet. Here are the four items. The amount in in Fund 73 in our trust, which is our OPEB funding, at the end of June 30th, 2015 was $4,263,914. This is unaudited as of today. We hope to have the audited results next month, which should be the same. There's not a lot that goes in and out of this. I can pretty much guarantee that's going to be the balance. The investment return during the prior year was $3,402. As a reminder, we are extremely limited into the investments that we can make under Fund 73. We get excited when we can invest in something that brings back 0.45 of 1% over 18 months. So that's why that number is down so low. The total disbursements made during the prior year was $1,771,687. That matched our plan. And the name of the investment manager, again, is PMA Financial Network, who has managed the fund since its inception of about 5 years ago, but remember it was zero and wasn't funded for the first couple years. So as we are required, those are the 4 needed items of information that needed to be communicated to you today.
Any questions, anyone? Thank you. Next item, presentation of final and complete fiscal 2015-2016 school district budget.
Okay, tonight we are hoping to conclude our 11-month series of presenting budget reports to the board. And information of the 15-16 with tonight's presentation of our Fund 10 and Fund 27 budget. Tonight's purpose, the first time I've got to put this up here, is to present the final operating budget for approval. Our guidelines, as a reminder, it's prepared on a conservative basis. I know I repeat this time and time again, but we are conservative. We are monitoring public funds, but we also want to give everyone a challenge. We don't want to throw something out there that's unreachable and basically unusable, but we do work on a conservative basis here. And as the disclaimer goes, it's based on everything we know right now. I said there are still changes to be made. I just should have said there will be changes made due to items that actually happen differently than what we projected. And before we go further, by starting the detail, I'll go over the mission next. This time I'd like to recognize the 2 people who worked literally thousands of hours to put in 13,000 budget line items in this budget, cram it into one budget. So if you would join me in thanking Jamie Legred and Matt Sylvester Knudsen. Go ahead, stand up. I like to embarrass. My staff. Hour after hour, number after number. It even gets boring to accountants after a while when you work at it that much. But they were top-notch, had everything tied up, ticked, added, and given to me, and we discussed things in plenty of time to have things done by the deadlines. And I just want to thank them very much for their hard work. Purpose of preparing the budget is the purpose of the district. It ends up serving our community by educating every child. We are the ones that are managing the resources that go into the mission. For our assumptions used, we did include the new revenue caps that were received on October 15th, and the assumption was that they were fully utilized. There was very little change in the numbers we received, and all of this was reported at the Finance Committee meeting last week. Very little, relatively little numbers that were changed, about $66,000 out of $113 million for the 10 and 27. So the budget book is now online, and this year the budget book is probably closest to the actual than it's been since I've been here, because it'll only be off by $66,000. So generally speaking, everything you see in the budget book is going to be fairly accurate within tenths or 1/100ths of 1%. We also assume that the grants are only included if we know they're going to be received. If they're just guesstimated or they're out there and in process and we're not sure, they're not included in this budget. If they do come through, let's just say we have a grant for $10,000, we'll have the $10,000 of revenue, and then we'll add the $10,000 of expenses that were going to be covered by the grant. This happens all the time, as all grants are not received at the same time. Our updated revenue projections are really not updated from last time, since it's rounded to the 100,000th. Again, last year's revenue was 113.6. This is just Fund 10 and 27. This year it's 113.1, a decrease of 0.4 or 0.4 of 1% from the prior year. Compared to last year, these are the numbers And the breakout that I showed last time, the only changes were the $66,000, which in local sources, you can see the 27.5 number, that went up $83,000. If you go to the state sources, the 74.9 million number, that went down only $17,000. So again, the net, the $113 million number only changed by 66,000 from the time before. Very small change. Our pie graph that we showed before, again, with a small change, minimal changes. Local went to 24.3 from 24.2. State went down to 66.2 from 66.3. Just the flip of 1/10%. Not a big change. Expenses match the revenues. 113.1 did not change from last time. What did change last time was not the total, but if you recall, at the time I presented the budget, it was before the $1.7 million had been assigned to specific accounts. So at that time, we had put the $1.7 million into the other category. With this process and with the time going further and the board approving the allocation of that $1.7 million, it was spread from the other into the other categories. So salaries were at 59.1. They jumped up to 59.7. Benefits jumped up 0.2 to 18.6. Purchase services jumped 0.1 from 13.6 to 13.7. Capital went from 2.5 to 2.6. And the other dropped by a full percent. So again, the $1.7 million ended up being about 1% of the total in here, roughly, and it was just spread amongst the items that had been approved by the board, the various people, the various benefits that go along with wages, and the various items that would be purchased or bought as a capital asset. The projected overall budget for 10 and 27, again, $113,130,384. The balanced budget is being presented as is required and is our desire and habit. To look back at the property taxes, the change in the aid, as I noted before, was minus $17,000. The change in the all-fund tax levy was plus 83, for a net total of $66,000. That was the gain from the amount shown the week before, or 2 weeks before, I'm sorry. So how did that affect the numbers with regards to the mill rate? These are the numbers that are brought forward from the previous page. The increase in the mill rate from last year is 2.41. It had been 2.17. Translated into dollars, that changed. The mill rate last time was it was 9.57. It changed to 9.59. I was looking at the wrong line. So the tax levy on the $100,000 home this year, if you look at it compared to last year, there is a $22 increase. If you look at it compared to last month or the last time I presented, these changes only resulted in a $2 change. It was $9.57 at the last presentation and is now $9.59. These numbers did not change from before. If you add all of our funds together, 10, 27, 40, or 50, the 30s, 70, and so on, our total budget for revenue for all funds is $140 million. And again, I like to always say that number because there's times I get the sense that people think a school district is just a mom and pop operation, but $140 million is a pretty solid corporation in my book. So we're a serious entity here with serious money, and that's why we do things in a serious manner. Summary. This presentation displayed the highlights of our budget and our best estimate. Board approval is requested tonight, and these numbers include the 1.7 assignment from last time and the changes resulting from receiving the revenue caps from before. Questions?
Questions? Dale?
I have a couple questions in the proposed budget. Would it be under this item or a couple items later? What's your preference?
Go ahead.
Because when we're approving this budget, I'm also need to start thinking about what's happening and what's going to carry over into next year. And I mean, we had a couple nice things happen, Nick, that helped this budget, like the health insurance change you guys did, and then you came into a one-time only pot of money, which helped substantially, which of course aren't going to be there following year. Going back the 1.7 mil, how much of that allocation will be carried over into the following budget of 16 and 17, that's like salary and fringe? You know what I'm talking about? Like the STEM is 600,000. I don't know how much of that salary and fringe, how much is materials, whatever. Do you have a percentage, like
Yeah,
a
the-
mil of that's going to carry over or whatever?
Them, that was the one I looked at. The other ones are pretty much identified in the overall schedule that was distributed to by Dr. Schulte, where there was 4 staff for 300, a coordinator for 900, secretaries for 58. I'll skip STEM. 95 for teachers, substitute pay, Development Institute, that was just 120. Leadership and the increase in per pupil allocation. So take away 250, 350 from the total, you get about $1,250,000. Take away another 600,000, it's about 600,000 or 700,000 that will be continued into the next year, if you're talking continued, meaning continued employment of new people.
So less than half.
Less than a half, yes.
Please continue.
Can you remind me on state retirement, we have been paying on an ongoing basis, but then there was that little glitch where they ended up making us, all the school district, pay money, extra money? You know what I'm talking about?
Not off the top of my head. No.
Well, we had,
Remember they changed the formula or something, and then we had to pay them another, we owed a couple million?
well, that was something we refinanced into concrete form. How long has that been now?
3 or 4 years.
So we addressed that
During
3 or
that
4 years
fiscal year-
ago.
During the
Yeah,
fiscal year, right?
right.
And when's that gonna be paid up?
Not till
I believe
2030?
2029 or 2030. But what we did
Okay.
was, we eliminated about $2 to $3 million of interest we would have had to pay had we kept going under the other path.
annually.
Yes.
Yeah, so by the year 2030, we'll have saved over $20 million.
All right. I
Yes.
have one last question. Can you give me a feel of, I know one of the topics that's coming up at this board in November, you know, the evaluation program and money, whatever. How are revenues looking next year compared to this year from the state? Are they flat or what are they?
Well, you can go by what they say and you can go by what happens. They've said a lot of things before this year and we never knew what was going to happen. I believe there is, I want to say $125 increase per pupil proposed. But we'll see. If you're talking 16-17 or you're talking 15-16?
16-17. I mean, you've already budgeted this.
Actually, what I saw in the state superintendent's budget was $100 per student.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking, it was a loss of 125, I think, from before, yes.
Yes, last year, coming into this fiscal year, it would have been a loss. The budget was corrected so that what we received this year is equal to what we received last year, so a 0 increase. And next year in 16-17, it is in the governor's budget that each district will receive $100 additional per pupil, or approximately slightly more than $1 million.
That
So
is
the
true.
bottom line to this conversation is actually our budgets are going to get tighter and tighter the next couple of years on projected revenues. Thank you.
Anyone else? Carl?
Yeah, I'd like the public to know this. Sorry, I thought I did it. Yeah, I'd like the public to kind of know a few little things. Part of the things that have happened over the years, our district, I can very proudly say, has been very conservative. They have saved the taxpayers a lot of burden. One example was $20 million in refinancing over a couple of years, which will save in total a lot. But the state taketh away, and they make us increase the taxes to make up for the deficit. And so it makes us look bad by raising property taxes to the max, but it's a small amount, which I'm very grateful for. But the other things, and I have mentioned it before, but it doesn't seem to get through the media to the public, is over a 4-year period from 2009 to 12, which you notice that is before Act 10, the board and 5 members, for 2 of the last 2, 11 and 12, are currently on the board. They saved $4,347,000 in taxing ability for those things, and we would be carrying forward now if it weren't. 3 members of this board existed in 9 and 10, and there was another $3.34 million that were saved in taxing that was never used. This is the ability to tax that we never used. So I think it's very important that the taxpayer understand how conservative the board has been over the years, despite its needs and its various things. Because if I looked at this amount total, that's almost $7.7 million a year more in money that could be coming in that we never used. Now that doesn't make it bad that we don't, but a part of that looking at things that are coming up in the future, and we've kind of smoothed out and kept going, could have used some of that money. Now we don't need it, but we will. We work very hard at it. So I just want people to be aware in the public that school boards over the years in Janesville have protected the taxpayer immensely. And I know it's going to go up, what is it, $29 this year for a $100,000 home?
22.
20, how much?
22.
I'm hearing figures all over. 22, okay, per thousand. Average home, we can project that up if we want to at 118. That's small. And they had enjoyed a decrease in taxes over the past 3 years. So this is less than that. So I just want people to know that we're working at it. We're working very hard, everyone. And there isn't a person on this board that wants to raise taxes. Nobody says, Yahoo, we want to raise taxes. Boy, we get to do it. I think we work very hard at it. So I just wanted the public to know that, and I hope it does get out in the media. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Anyone else? Item number 17. Commissioner Hassebacher.
I move to adopt the 2015-2016 school tax levy in the amount of $35,907,737 and to specify $9,398,073 of that amount to be levied as a direct, irrepealable tax for the sole purpose of paying the principal and interest on the district's long-term debt obligations.
Second.
Motion and second. Okay, Deb? Yep. Discussion, questions? Let's vote. Item number 18. Okay, item number 18. Sorry.
Thank you. Well, I want to publicly thank Mr. Keith Pennington, Chief Financial Officer, Certified Public Accountant, for his outstanding job in dealing with a very complex budget. Also, I have to recognize also Jamie Legrid and Matt Knutson. They are a wonderful Cracker Jack team. They work well together, but I echo the fact that it takes hundreds and probably thousands of hours to put this together, to check it, to make sure it's accurate. So thank you to all of them. And the part that Keith didn't tell is that while they're doing the budget, the rest of us are bugging them about all other kinds of things. And so we're constantly asking them questions. So I certainly want to thank them. They do an outstanding job. So it's my desire as superintendent of the school district of Janesville that you adopt the 2015-16 school budget.
All right, before we vote, let's have these two individuals come up and stand by Keith, please.
Come on.
I didn't tell them they would have to do, I didn't know you were going to have to do this.
They don't have to speak, they can just...
Well, they can speak.
Just look pretty.
I think they have to speak.
It's done, they say it's ready.
Okay,
Drink.
final discussion to consider adoption of the 15-16 school district budget. Commissioner?
I move to adopt the 2015-2016 district operating budget as presented.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Let's vote. That passes, thank you. Next item, summary of board request. I have none. Therefore, meeting's adjourned.